Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the relationship advice subreddit and says, "My best friend proposed to me. I'm confused and mortified. Where can we go from here?" Frankly, I'm still in shock that this happened, so this might be all over the place. Bear with me. All fake names, etc, etc. Jordan and I met in university 2 years ago. We both started at the same time, and because of our ages, we were both considered mature students. So we quickly became firm friends, and we shared a dorm, and would joke around together about us being old enough to be considered mature in our early 20s. We weren't on the same course, but given we lived together, we'd hang out pretty much all the time whenever we didn't have a lecture. We joined a bunch of societies together, went drinking every weekend together, etc, etc. It was a pretty sweet gig because it meant we're at least never alone. Obviously we made other friends, both alone and together, but we were always each other's number one at the end of the day. At the moment, we're on spring holidays for Easter, and while we haven't hung out constantly, we decided to make plans to visit each other's hometowns because we're from very starkly different places. Today we went to mine. Mine is a big city central. This morning we went there and we wandered down the streets, doing some sightseeing because he's never been. There's typically a lot of street sellers here, trying to sell you everything from hot dogs to fluffy Pokemon hats. I decided I wanted to get a caricature done. I've never had one and thought it would be funny to get and hang over my bed when we got back for term. I asked Jordan if he wanted to get in and he refused. No worries, so I sat down to get it done. It didn't take very long, 5 to 10-ish minutes. So I stayed, looked straight forward at the artist the entire time. He finished the caricature. I loved it, so I obviously turned to show it properly to Jordan. When I turn though, I literally don't even know what to say. He's down on one knee, holding up a ring box. I don't even know what he said, if he did the whole proposal speech thing, because I was so confused. I was barely paying attention. Remember again, this is a super busy tourist city, so this has drawn a mini crowd now, coming over to cheer us on. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. To be honest, I thought this was some kind of odd prank type thing. We never have been prankster types or whatever, but I couldn't come up with a reasonable explanation. So I just laughed and laughed and laughed until I looked at Jordan and he looked genuinely heartbroken. So obviously asked him if something along the lines of, "You're not being serious." This is the only thing I remember him saying. He shut the box, stood up and shrugged and said, "I guess not anymore," and walked off. This left me standing pretty awkwardly in this gathered crowd of people, a lot of who were giving me dirty looks, which made me incredibly uncomfortable. The plan was to meet back up at the hotel that we had booked rooms next door to one another. I figured that's where he's going and head back that way, but he's not there. So I wait and he still doesn't return. I text him out of concern. This was at 1:15 PM. It's currently 6:20 PM as I'm writing this, just asking if he's okay. He responds with a long message back, which I would post, but it's an odd read, but I won't have respect for his privacy. In which he basically accuses me of leading him on, asking why I didn't break up with him sooner, saying I had publicly humiliated him and that he thought I loved him the same way, and that he felt our relationship was strong enough to consider taking to the next step. Now, this is completely out of left field. I literally have got no idea where in the world he's got this idea from. The closest we've ever physically been is a hug, hello, and goodbye. I've never even jokingly flirted with him. For exactly this reason. I've had too many friendships collapse because they can't tell the difference between serious interesting and joking banter in friendships. So I've been extra careful to not. We've never kissed, never been on a date, never had sex. I don't find him physically attractive. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with him. I don't understand where on earth he's got the idea that we are. This isn't something he's ever brought up before this, and I'm genuinely bewildered. He hasn't returned to the hotel yet. I periodically knock to check, and I've been listening out for him, walking up the hallway or anything. Nothing. I haven't responded to his long paragraph because honestly, I don't know how to. I'm just so stunned and taken aback that I genuinely had no idea where to go from here or what to do. I haven't told anyone I know in person yet, mostly because I don't want to bring this up to people who know Jordan. So here I am turning to strangers on Reddit instead. What in the world do I do? Now obviously I'm not trying to diagnose or anything like that, but it did have me question about how mentally well is this guy at the moment, because there seems to be no kind of anything more than friendship there, but he decided to propose to you in public out of the blue like that. It was nothing more ever than a friendly hug, so from that to proposing is just like a wild jump for me. But Low Engineering says, I have a close male friend. We went to a Christmas fair together one year. We were not holding hands or linking arms. The stall owner began talking to my male friend about the jewelry the store sold and how they'd make great engagement rings for you two. I thought my friend was going to die of sheer shock and horror. The speed at which he set this man straight was hilarious. Your friend appears to genuinely believe you're a couple. I concur with those saying to try and contact his family. I understand it might seem dramatic, but it may be wise to contact the police. You're not reporting him missing per se, but you are telling them you have concerns. Note, I'm not American. I'm aware the cop's suggestion could be a terrible idea in some states. Another commenter says, wow, this is the biggest misread I've ever heard of. I don't think your friendship will recover from this, at least for now. The best you can do is make it clear that you don't feel the same way at all. But yeah, this is a friendship killer. Casey the Ace quotes that comment and says, well, you're in for a treat, and shares another post with a big misread in it, which I think we're going to cover for the second story. Five Night Rental says, if and when he returns, I would only meet to discuss this in a public area. It doesn't sound like he's taking it well, and his perception of reality seems to be questionable. Be careful. Americana Rama says, this kinda happened to me. Not to the point of proposal, but I live with a male roommate who was already a close friend of mine for several years. When I was moving out, he confronted me and basically said he thought we should continue our relationship and get married and get a pet, and I need to break my new lease and stay with him, among many other really unhinged things. It was absolutely out of character, and like you, we were friends for years, and there was never any indication that we were anything else, and I dated while we lived together. Long story short, he was having a mental break and eventually got psych help. We reconnected like a year later, and he explained this and that he basically had a psychotic break and why. It's been 7 years now, and we're still good friends to this day, lol. He's stable now and has a long-term girlfriend, and we're good friends as well. I would seriously recommend you alert someone to his mental state and not re-engage until he is back to reality, if or when that happens. ETA, I don't want to sound like I'm minimizing this. You need to be away from him. Wouldn't really recommend going to his hotel room, etc. If you have to meet, do it in public, regardless of if it's a mental health related or if he's gaslighting and manipulating you on purpose. He's not stable, so don't be around him. Either your presence will continue to add to his delusion, or you risk your safety, or both. So OP did update their post and said Jordan did in fact not come back to the hotel. I stayed up until 1 AM before falling asleep and he didn't return. When I woke up the next day, the hotel staff let me know he had checked himself out at about 6 AM. I did end up responding to his big long text. I took everyone's advice and told him that I was sorry it didn't go as he expected, but that I wasn't sure where he'd got the impression that we were together. I said I'd be happy to sit and have a discussion about it so we could all make sure we're on the same page. He was not happy about this at all, and he again went off with a bunch of the same type of thing he said in the first message. It didn't really seem to be going through his head at all. Even in these new texts, he kept referring to all of this as me breaking up with him, despite me explicitly telling him we are not and never have. Again, all his messages were very clear and coherent, even if what he was saying was not based in reality at all. He wasn't sending paragraphs, just sentences in really quick succession, which was blowing my phone up. He told me he didn't want to meet up with me to talk because I had ripped out his heart and crushed it in public. I did ask him for specific instances he could recall between us that made him think we were dating, but he completely ignored the question and just kept going on and on about how hurt he was that I was breaking up with him, and how he felt his world was ending. He said he loved me more than anything and had felt so confident that I had too, which is why he felt so certain about proposing to move our relationship along. Eventually, to be honest, I grew pretty tired of the conversation and stopped responding, because it was just going around and around in circles. Me asking where he got this idea, him ignoring this and telling me how hurt he is I'm breaking up with him over this, etc. He went on and on saying he thought it would be a ring I like, because it was my favourite gem, ruby, instead of diamond. It's got me wondering how much he actually spent on this damn thing. I didn't look very clearly at the ring, so I couldn't tell if it was something super expensive or not, and that he had been working up the courage to do so for a while and figured doing it when I was home would make it more special. For a while, he was just talking to himself in my text because I wasn't responding anymore. When I checked back about 20 minutes later, I had something like 60 messages from him. Granted, they were all one sentences. At the very end, he apologized and told me that it didn't matter anyway because I wouldn't see him around anymore. Obviously, I was concerned, so I asked for clarification. He said that he was going to drop out of university and go back home because he couldn't deal with the shame. That's where our conversation ended. I didn't really know what to respond to that. As it stands now, I don't really know where Jordan is. I didn't ask him, which is my bad. I'm not sure if and when we will talk again. I'm sorry that this is quite a boring update. Unfortunately, I can't excite everyone and then he turned up at my door and then he sent me flowers or whatever. It feels a lot is unanswered. I still don't know where he got the idea from. He hasn't explained that. So I'm sorry I can't give everyone that answer. I haven't reached out to his family yet. I did consider it, but if he's not having a mental health crisis, I don't really want to involve them unnecessarily. Update 2. So adding on, a lot of people said I should ask our mutual friends if he's ever brought this up before, ever suggested we were dating, etc. All of the people I've asked, granted it was only 5, said they've not got a clue and he's never mentioned it before now. I don't know then if this is something that he's newly started thinking, if it's been something long term, etc. Either way, in addition, I've also screenshotted all of his texts just in case. Reading back on them, not with a slightly confused mindset. They read pretty manic. Still haven't heard back from his mum just yet. Hey, I'm not dead. I'm back at my parents' house at the moment and I'll be staying here until school picks back up in a bit instead of travelling around. It's nice to be home anyways. There was a couple of comments which Opie responded to. So Fenkik says, I understand not wanting to involve family, but as you are close and in college, surely there are other friends and people who know you both you could reach out to and ask. You don't even have to go into specifics. Just be like, hey, did you think that Jordan and I were dating? Have you heard Jordan refer to us dating? Get a sense of whether this is something ongoing and he's just a regular weirdo, or if this is something concerning that should be brought up with family or mental health professionals at your school. Opie says, we do share some mutual friends. I haven't really considered reaching out to them, but I'll definitely think about doing so. I feel like someone would have told me if he had been saying that to them though, but obviously I'm not certain. I haven't told anyone in real life about it, not even my parents. Just been keeping under the near total anonymity of Reddit. But I can definitely see why it may be important to do this. Ella says, I would recommend telling your parents just in case anything else were to happen. And Canada OG says yes, you need to tell a few people for sure. I'd tell my mum and I wouldn't trust that he doesn't just show back up on campus. I'd have a system in place with my mum that if I don't message twice a day, this is the dorm mum's number to call so someone checks on me. I understand you don't want to think the worst of him, but if he's not answering your questions, he's still not thinking logically. You need to also talk to a mutual friend so they're on the lookout for you as well. You need confirmation from someone that knows both of you that either A, they didn't know you were in a relationship, or B, thought you were in a relationship, or C, Jordan did mention things once in a while but they brushed them off because you are clearly not dating. And all I can really do at the end of this is wish that OP stays as safe as possible. It sounds like a pretty scary situation to be in at the moment. I personally felt like it was some kind of mental issue at the same time as well, because it just seems like so mad about the jump to the proposal, etc., and the way he's acting afterwards. And, you know, I hope he does discover some help, his family gets in touch with him, and, you know, because the alternative is quite worrying. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And we're going to jump to a similar story which was mentioned in the comments of that story we just read. Apparently it's a bit of a wild one, confusing one all at the same time, so let's get involved and find out. This is from Mr. Molewall, who says, my 35 male girlfriend 35 female tells her co-workers that we are cousins. My girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years. She keeps hinting at wanting to get married and talking about what her wedding will be like someday. I've decided to take the hint. I bought an engagement ring a week ago and I'm planning to pop the question sometime soon. Well, over the weekend she had a work function. This was the first time she invited me along. I'm not super outgoing, but I was kind of looking forward to meeting all these co-workers she talks about so much. For some reason, every time we talked to someone, she introduced me as her cousin. I thought it was a joke at first, but she kept at it the whole day. When we were driving home, I asked her what was that all about, and she said she didn't want people to have the wrong impression. When I asked her what she meant, she said she didn't want to talk about it anymore and I shouldn't be so upset. She then switched the conversation to her favorite TV show. Why would she introduce me as her cousin? Should I insist on her telling me why she did that before I propose? Now for me, I think the obvious thing I should probably say is it sounds like she was trying to hide you from her co-workers, call you a cousin because there's someone that she's possibly dating or likes at her workplace. But why would she do that and tell you not to question it? Of course you're going to question that. And I certainly wouldn't be proposing on the back of that either. But Sunbreaker says they probably know her boyfriend already. She most likely been cheating on you for a while and they've had multiple encounters with her boyfriend, so by them not getting the wrong idea means not knowing the truth. So, sorry my dude, I believe you're getting played. Iffy Biz says that my friend is what's called total disrespect. It may not seem like a big thing, but pack her stuff and kick her out. There's only a few reasons why she had done that and none of them are good. 1. She's embarrassed by you. 2. She said terrible things about her boyfriend, you, and don't want them coming back to you. 3. She's been seeing a co-worker and everyone there knows it. All of them, in my opinion, are deal breakers. At minimum, bring back the ring and tell her you did and why. And one more comment which just says, there is no legitimate reason your girlfriend of 6 years will refer to you as her cousin. I'm more surprised that you could stand that over and over while she did that thing without saying. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, if you guys get married, what's she gonna tell them if they're invited to the wedding? That she married her cousin? Come on. So, OP does update the post and says, there was a lot of good feedback to my question, although some of it was fairly mean. I decided to give her a call and be very blunt with her. I asked her if she was cheating, and she seemed very confused. When I pressed, she got angry and told me she's always been faithful to her boyfriend. Now it was my turn to be confused, and I asked her who her boyfriend was. Long story short, she's been dating another guy for the past year. She's been hoping he would propose, hence all the wedding talk. Apparently she's never thought of me as a boyfriend. I misread that badly. She kept alternating between very apologetic, saying, I'm so sorry if I gave you the wrong impression. How could you have possibly thought we were together? Well, sir, I feel pretty stupid right now. But on the bright side, I'm glad I found out now before proposing. Now that would have been awkward. I just got done signing up for a new Match.com account this evening, and I'm going to be returning the ring I bought, hoping for a better day tomorrow. Edit for clarification, because some of you were asking. No, we were not having sex. I'm asexual and don't really like sex. The OP also left a comment below that which said, we would say love you, but looking back now it is more of a friendly thing, kind of like I love you guys. We would hang out a lot and share a lot of our feelings. We sometimes would go to a movie together or grab dinner with just the two of us, but oftentimes we did things together as a group. One time that sticks out is she organised a double date. Looking back now, I realised that I was actually supposed to be on a date with the other girl, while she was with her boyfriend. That explains a lot now, like why the other girl kept brushing up against me and stuff, and why she seemed really sullen at the end of the double date. Man, I'm such an idiot. What? What the hell? This just left me with so many questions. I'm like, well, why did she still call him cousin at the work do? Why not just a friend? Or also 6 years? This has been going on for 6 years. Bloody hell. I'm just going to turn this one to you guys. My wordy word. What do you guys make of this situation, or both of them really? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love. Oh dear.